Like so many people in this region, I love Sacramento, and I'm also excited about its bright future. And I think there are a lot of ideas that we should be considering as we move the city forward to be able to take advantage of all the opportunity and to really create a city that serves everyone who lives here. And that's why I'm running for mayor. The thing we need to do is start with, we have, people who are our neighbors who are unhoused. And so unfortunately, we haven't told them where they're allowed to be. And I think that's a responsibility of our government, not just to pass policies that say you can't be here and you can't be there, but to actually tell them where they're allowed to be, free from sweeps, where they can receive services and where they can be cared for. And that's something that builds trust. It also meets basic needs because housing is a human right. And so step one is to make sure that people have a place to go. The next step is, of course, to get them into affordable housing. And I think we've spent a lot of money, but we have not spent it as effectively as we can. And so that's one of the goals for the mayor and the council, is to come together and to really decide where we need to make sure we're making investments so that, the world has changed and not everybody's going into offices. Can we reclaim some of those for housing? Can we do some things to speed up the process of making sure that people have a roof over their heads? And then, of course, we need to protect the people who are currently, renting and maybe at risk for homelessness. Because for every one person that we get housed, 3 more become unhoused. And so that means that even if we're making progress, we're going to continue to see escalating numbers of people not having shelter because we haven't addressed the root cause of that pipeline. Well, first and foremost, I am a fund public safety candidate. And for me, what that means is none of us wake up in the morning wanting to be victims of crime, not even our police department. And so what we want to do is invest in prevention. As a public health professional, that's my expertise. What can we prevent? Because the drivers of crime are known. And just 3 years ago, we lived in a city that for 2 years had no youth homicides. And then right at the time when those programs needed more investment, we not only didn't give them the investment that they needed, we actually reduced some of those dollars. And so I think that more is possible. I think that we can really invest in prevention. And then, of course, we invest in an appropriate response after that. So who's going to respond when those calls are made? Making sure that there are mental health providers who can show up when there's a mental health crisis. Making sure there are service providers who can show up when the call is about homelessness. And when the call is about violent crime, making sure that the appropriate responder shows up there. It's about having a multi-tiered approach that starts with prevention. And that's what I want to bring to the city of Sacramento, because we had some of that in the past, and for some reason where we've struggled is to continue the things that work and continue to improve them to make things better. As Sacramentans, I think we agree on a lot more than sometimes it may appear based on the conversations that we're having. I think sometimes where we disagree is on how we get there. And that's where I think there's an opportunity for there to be a bigger conversation about, if we agree on the goal, can we be willing to experiment? Can we look at what the data tell us is promising? Can we look at other cities or even our own historic data for our own city when things were better and think about what we invested in then and do some of that here? So I want us to have conversations where we invite all the voices to the table, because I think that a city works best when all the voices operate in harmony. So it's not about silencing anyone. It's about making sure that we're all singing at about the same volume so that everyone's ideas are heard and respected and that we're able to ultimately make music together.